there everyone, welcome to another video on this R50 Mini. So the next little job I'm going to tackle is what you see on that display. I don't know how well that's coming out, but that's the ambient temperature display and it's reading minus 40 degrees Celsius. We're not in Siberia in January or anything like that. This is the UK in June, so it's definitely not that cold. That display sort of looks like it's flashing on the phone, but it's not actually flashing, is it? So hopefully it's reading it okay on the video when it plays back. But anyway, it's reading minus 40, just in case that's not being recorded clearly for whatever reason on the phone. But anyway, so I actually did a video on a Ford Fiesta. I think it was probably about 2 years or so ago. I think it was summer 2020 if I remember correctly, which had the same problem. And I sort of talked about it in quite a bit of detail in that video, so I don't want to go into it in too much detail in this video. But just briefly, these ambient temperature sensors on most cars are what are known as negative temperature coefficient thermistors. Now, what a thermistor is simply a resistor whose resistance varies with temperature, and then the negative temperature coefficient bit means that as the temperature goes up, the resistance goes down. So the correlation is negative, if you like. So that means that a very low temperature reading, minus 40, corresponds to a very high resistance. So basically, I'm pretty sure from experience that this is gonna either mean that the sensor is completely blown, i.e. like there's no electrical continuity left through it, or is going to be a break in the wiring somewhere. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of the two, but we'll have a look and take it from there. Okay, so I got the front of the car raised up. Just want to quickly say, you know, if you're doing this, please don't follow my example with what I've done here. Get yourself some proper ramps. They're cheap to buy, much easier to use, and obviously much safer than what I'm doing here. So please don't follow my example in relation to that. But anyway, I've got the front of the car raised up, as you can see. Now I've already had a bit of a look. I'll tell you what I've found so far. So the temperature sensor, should actually be clipped in. You see where that vertical bit is? That's actually like a little clip kind of thing, and I'm pretty sure that the temperature sensor should be clipped in there. It's not. It's missing. What I've also found, I mean, it wasn't like literally hanging down like this. It was like tucked up underneath the bumper. But this was just like tucked up underneath the bumper, like loose. It's obviously been like that for a while. It's caked in dirt, as you can see, but I'm pretty sure that I think what must have happened is bumper's been off at some stage, that sensor's been taken off, and then it hasn't been put back on for whatever reason, and then this has just been left up there loose. So anyway, what I'm going to do is just clean up these terminals so we can do some testing, establish that that this is actually the connector for the temperature sensor. I mean, I think it is, but let's make sure for 100%. And also we can do some tests do a test to make sure that the wiring and all that is still okay. And if it is, I'll go ahead and order a new sensor and we'll put it in. Okay guys, you saw how hard I was trying the previous two clips to get this connector cleaned up, but I think it might be beyond saving, because this terminal here, that looks and feels fine. Like if I put in this pin, you know, it goes in, and you know, that feels fine. But this one, you know, I haven't managed to sort of even get it like cleaned up enough to even be able to insert this pin in properly. It just feels like it's really caked in with something in there. But anyway, luckily, just had a look on eBay, and actually these sensors, well, aftermarket ones, but these sensors are quite cheap, and you can buy just the sensor itself for just a £5, or a sensor with a connector and a bit of pigtail for a tenner. So not a problem. We'll just have to cut this one off and like solder in the new connector, and we should be good. But obviously we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, because first of all we need to sort of, you know, do our testing, and in order to do that, I'm just gonna get another one. Sorry guys, my phone battery went dead earlier, but anyway, what I've done is I've basically like back probed the two you know, the two terminals on this connector. And then what I'm effectively doing is just sort of like putting in my test light across these terminals. Now the purpose is basically so that the module responsible for this sensor is effectively going to see the resistance of my test light, and then that should, if everything is working, it should give a temperature reading. I think it's going to be quite a high temperature reading, because I'm guessing the resistance of this test light is probably quite a bit lower than the actual what the actual sensors run at. So all being well, we should, when we go and check now, we should see a high temperature reading on the display. Okay, let's switch the ignition on, see what we have. Okay, we got movement. It's moving in the right direction. Oh, here we go. It's going very, very positive. Yeah, I mean, basically, I think just even the fact that, you know, that's, yeah, okay, that's enough for me to feel confident that the wiring and everything is okay. We just need to replace that sensor, so I'll go ahead and get that ordered, and I will see you guys, you know, in the next clip, but probably in a couple of days for me, when I've got the sensor. Okay, so I've got the part, and I've just got it just temporarily connected up, as you can see, just to make sure that it is working. So, which I've already confirmed that it is, but just to show you, as you can see, we've now got a temperature reading of 17 degrees Celsius there. And I can confirm that that is about right for today. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and just solder that bit of you know, that connector in. I think this video is already a little bit long, so I'm not going to show doing that, but I'll come back to you guys after I finish, just to show the final fix. Okay, so repairs all done using solder, heat shrink and electrical tape. Just one final thing to say is that I've got to get the light balance right here. Okay, cool. Okay, so just one final thing to say is, as I showed you at the beginning, or talked about at the beginning of the video, this sensor had previously been taken off or fallen off or whatever and not put back on, and the cable wasn't routed to where that clip is that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Now, to route that cable properly and to reach that clip where that should actually be clipped onto will involve taking the bumper cover off. Now, that's not a massively difficult job to do. There are other videos on YouTube showing how to do it, but for various reasons I don't want to go into right now. At the moment, I don't want to bother doing this, doing that on this car. So what I've simply done, I hope you can see that, is just used a cable tie to fix that onto the sort of bottom bumper trim there, as you can see. And obviously, if I have reason to take the bumper off in the future, then I can like route it and clip it on to where it's supposed to be. But equally, based on my experience, I'd be perfectly happy to just leave that as a permanent repair, because based on my experience, I would say a cable tie is perfectly good enough for holding on a very lightweight sensor like that. In fact, it will probably hold a sensor on better, probably better than what the actual clip would, in my opinion. So yeah, I'll close the video off there, guys. I think it's actually a bit too long anyway for what is actually quite a simple repair, but as always, I hope you found it interesting and or useful, and I will catch you guys all on the next video, I hope soon. Bye now.